Why would any of that?
Bro, I ain't finished. I ain't finished my sentence.
Nothing you're saying has anything to do with regret.
Hey, boy.
Don't call me boy.
Don't finish. I told you. I ain't finished. Hey, boy. La, 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 la. Hey, bro. La, 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 la. Hey, boy. La, 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 la. Hey, bro. La, 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 la. I ain't finished my sentence. Hey, boy. Finish my sentence. Hey boy, hey boy, hey boy. I was in the middle of a sentence, boy. You're being a Karen.
You're interrupting me now.
To it. Oh, and don't treat me like a boy then. I'm a composer, right? And this is a symphony. I'm gonna finish my sentence and my idea. And I'm tired of the left media trying to pick on me. Have we grown? Have we grown? People thought I was gonna cancel myself. Have we grown? Have we grown? I'm not gonna cancel myself. Bro, hey, bro. La 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 means be quiet and let me finish. Right, hey boy. La 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 la. I ain't finished my sentence. Hey boy. Hey boy. Hey boy. I ain't finished my sentence. Hey boy.
DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
I didn't say DEFCON on anybody though.
You said basically all of them. Are you sorry you said that?
No.
You meant it. Yeah, but yeah, you should be.
Absolutely not.
That is racism.
Thank you for allowing me to say what I meant. La 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 la. That was blocked. La 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 la. My Jewish people. La 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 la. Jewish. La 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 la. Please don't ask me any retarded questions. Hey boy. La 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 la. Hey bro, la 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 la. Hey boy, la 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 la. Hey bro, la 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 la. I ain't finished my sentence. Hey boy, hey boy, hey boy. I ain't finished my sentence. Hey boy, hey boy, hey boy. La 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 la.
And now, Matt Wright and Spike Cohen.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Alex, co-host Snitker, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom. First and foremost, before we get into this very special episode of the Muddied Waters of Freedom, we have to thank, no matter... It's been a while since I've done this live like this, and so give me a second. Okay, before we get into that, first and foremost, no matter what channels you are watching this on, whether you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook, on Twitter, on Odyssey, wherever you are watching this, make sure that you like it, make sure that you share it, and if you are one of the people who listen to us, who listen to the episode on one of your favorite podcasting streaming platforms, to you, I give a very special Bull of Vanaka. So, obviously, things have been changing here at Muddied Waters. Spike has just been massively busy, so he hasn't had time. So, tonight, I have a very special co-host, Mr. Alex Snitker.
Hi!
For anybody who doesn't know who Alex is, shame on you. Alex is the co-host of Unattended Baggage with Adrian Wiley and Alex Snitker. You can find that on your favorite podcasting platforms. And if you want to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com. Whatever the rest of their thing is. He was the former vice chair of the Libertarian Party of Florida. He was the former executive director of the Republican Liberty Council. And he has been a staunch defender of liberty here in the state of Florida. And when I first started getting into the party here, he was one of the many people who kind of guided me through what it was like to be a libertarian in Florida, meaning... It was torture. But
It was like dental work.
yeah, it's like dental work. So he is going to be co-hosting with me tonight. He actually asked me to come on. He has some stuff he wants to talk about. I'm very excited about it. But before we get into that, as always, are you tired of waking up in the morning and hating your day so much that you're like, I don't even want coffee anymore? Coffee doesn't do it. I want something with less caffeine and tastes worse. Well, I've got great news for you. If you head on over to muddywatersofreedom.com/mud, you can get a starter pack of Mud Water, the coffee alternative with 1/7 the caffeine and supposedly keeps you awake all day. It is made with masala chai, cacao, mushrooms, turmeric, sea salt, cinnamon, and that is it. And it tastes exactly like you think those ingredients together in water are going to taste. So add a lot of honey, or as much honey as you want. So head on over to muddywatersofreedom.com/mud, and you can start your day off with a big steaming jug of mud water.
You know, I think the one thing I like about your show the most is the veracity in which you do your ads. I think that the passion that you have for the advertisers of your show is something that I'm still amazed that I don't have any. So every time I listen to the show, dude, I swear to God, I'm like, do they like the product? Do they not like the product? I don't know which one it is.
So I use Mud Water regularly. Like since they became a sponsor, I started using them, and they work. Like it works. It will keep you awake. I just love coffee, so I will drink Mud Water on my way to work, and then I drink coffee that I also made at home for the first half of the day, and then I drink like an energy drink. I'll drink like a Bang after that.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So like I'm caffeinated all day long, except for when I have Mud Water.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You know, normally, actually, what I've been drinking now is Celsius.
I like the Celsius.
You know, I like the Celsius too. Danielle always gives me the warning, though, that I can't have more than one or I'm going to have a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand that one, because I totally have more than one. But I will say this, though. Her comments get me to limit it to 2.
That's fair. So with Bang, because I drink a lot of Bangs, I had to limit myself on the Bang to 1 a day.
Yeah.
I had to limit myself to Bang on 1 a day because it was I forgot to turn on my focus. But yeah, so I have to limit it to 1 a day, or else I end up getting wicked acid reflux, and it'll keep me up at night, or it feels like my heart's coming out of my chest. So I will not drink Bang more than 2 Bangs now. Yeah,
and because I work nights, so like I'm out all night long,
right?
And so looking for coffee at night, you gotta have somebody that has a good coffee game, and
Wawa's got a good coffee game.
Has a great coffee game going on.
Yeah,
like their Colombian is good, and they're because I'm a big creamer person, so their creamer bar is the bomb. Oh, I love the creamer, man. It's a good time.
So speaking of loving the creamer, love that segue.
Yeah, I don't even need these. Do I?
Yeah, only for one other portion of the show, really.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
right,
so you don't need them. Yeah, so speaking of the creamer, the World Cup is coming up. This will make sense in a second.
Okay.
The World Cup is coming up, and I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't like soccer.
Loved FIFA the video game, though.
Yes.
Loved
that
FIFA
was a great
the video game.
That was a great game.
Was really good at it.
But yeah, so I was not. I was terrible. I'm terrible at all video games.
Oh, I was really good at FIFA.
I wasn't allowed to play video games growing up. So like I was not.
So that like was your kid that kind of dexterity wasn't something?
Yeah, it wasn't something I got. So I learned how to play Tony Hawk really, really well because I got made fun of once because I was terrible at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a PlayStation. I bought Tony Hawk just so I could go beat the crap out of somebody in Tony Hawk. And once I did that, I never played video games again.
Tony Hawk was a good game, though.
Yeah, no, Tony Hawk was a great game. That was the most fun game. But so for the 8 people out there that like soccer in America, because anybody listening to us outside of there, I'm certain you love it, or football. Yeah. The games are being held in the well-known bastion of human rights, Qatar or Qatar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How are they?
Yeah.
I guess.
So, obviously, Qatar is famous for their hatred of gay people. And
they're not real fans, not big fans of the gays. Big fans.
And even their head of their FIFA organization in Qatar said homosexuality was a damage to the mind. And stating anybody who is going to be breaking their anti-gay laws in Qatar during the World Cup will be prosecuted to their laws, like, jail or
holy shit,
death.
God, the world is so tolerant. It's the tolerance that happens globally.
It's when people are like, America's so intolerant. And I'm like, you're gonna go watch Qatar, the World Cup in Qatar, where they're gonna be murdering people in the streets.
Yeah. No, we're the most racist country, but China is only Chinese unless you're an Uyghur Muslim, and then they got you in a concentration camp. Right. But we're the racist, right?
Yeah, we're the terrible racists.
Jesus Christ.
But the U.S., being the U.S., is taking a stand against these policies in the most effective way possible by changing their logo from the traditional red, white, and blue to the rainbow under the USA.
I like that. I like that. I didn't realize that was a thing.
That's a thing. So, okay. I have two. I'm like, okay, that's a good way to give like the middle finger.
A little bit of a troll.
A little bit of a troll, except they're only doing it at their practice fields.
Oh, pussies.
Right?
Oh, come on. See, if you're going to do it, then do it, though. Like, don't fuck around.
That's how I feel about it. I'm like, this is the virtue signal of all virtue signals. We're going to change the logo, not on the jerseys, not on anything displaying inside the stadium, only at our practice field.
Why? Always disappointing. Oh, if you're gonna do it, then go all.
Then do it right.
The whole hog, baby. Right. Either the whole hog or shut up.
Right. I don't care that they're doing it. I was like, oh, that's hilarious if they're actually gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of funny about it.
But they're not. What they're actually doing is just inside the practice field, and they're acting like it is this huge middle finger to Qatar. I don't know how to say their country's name. To Qatar and their belief system. But instead, it's going to be in the practice field. Only people inside the practice field are going to see it. Anytime that we're going to be on television worldwide, they're going to see the normal logo.
If you're going to do it, do it. That's the thing. If you're going to do it, do it. And I honestly, I don't, considering, look, I didn't know the backstory of this. I heard something on somewhere. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. But, because that's a cool looking logo, actually. That's not bad at all. That's not bad, but so this is just the men's team, right?
Yeah, that's just the men's team.
Oh, it's the men's team. Okay.
Yeah, because it's only the men's World Cup this year.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea about soccer.
I don't. I think anyway. I think that they're on opposite. It's like winter and summer Olympics.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. Now, look, in one aspect, I'm kind of glad you did it as a political statement or whatever. But at the same time, you're only doing it on the practice field. It's like when you elect somebody to office and they do the least amount possible to garner a response.
Right.
That's what this is. It's the least amount that they can do. So they could go to the Qatar people and say, well, we didn't do it here, but you can go back to America and say, but we're taking a big stand here.
Right.
Like it's all a Fugazi.
Exactly. It is the perfect definition of what that is. It is a massive, massive Fugazi. I have absolutely no segue for this next part, and this part's the one that I'm going to kind of shock you with. Recently, I found out about a program in here in Pinellas County. It's called the Lock It Up program. Have you heard of this?
Not until you sent me something on it.
Okay, so yes,
Oh, you got the piece of paper.
I got the piece of paper. So for anybody who's wondering about the Pinellas Lock It Up program. This is a program where the sheriff's department here in Pinellas County, where I live, will go and test out your doors while they are on your property. And if they are unlocked, they will open it up and leave this thing that is on your screen. They will leave this flyer in your car.
Hold on, you just said something right there, and I want to make sure I get a clarification.
Yes.
On your property?
That is where the person who got this.
This was in their driveway. Their car was in their driveway.
The car was in their driveway. In front, so he was parked in front and his girlfriend's car was parked behind his.
and they went up to his door.
Yes.
There's so many violations here.
So many violations here.
Okay, so let me say something else first, though. Should you lock your doors to prevent robberies and burglaries and things like that? Sure.
I've seen his car. No. No, he shouldn't.
You think it's such a bad car that if somebody were to go in it, they're probably going to leave money
that's
there?
why he leaves it unlocked.
This is just so Orwellian.
And so here's my thing. Like, they're just walking up to random cars, opening doors. If they see something illegal in that car, like, they aren't going to act like it's... Like, they aren't going to act like...
They're going to totally do that.
They are going to 100% do this.
Mm-hmm.
They're absolutely going to do this. They're going to say, oh, wait, he has drugs in the car. We're going to say...
And it was plainly visible because of some program that we're running.
Right.
How many more people are they going to bust because of this?
So many more. Apparently, I just found this out today because I was talking about it before the show with some people. This has been a program for 10 years, at least.
Wow.
Because one of my friend's moms found it in her car. She was in a Publix, a grocery store parking lot of some flavor, and she had that in her car when she came out. But now they're doing it on people's personal property. Like, they're walking up to your car in your driveway and doing this.
Like, I have a problem with it no matter which way they're doing it.
Either way, yeah.
However, on the property that you live on is far more intrusive than if you're in a public parking lot.
Yeah.
A public parking lot is a public parking lot, and so that they're not violating. I mean, they're still violating your rights, but they're doing less of it. They're not doing it in multitudes by doing it in like a public parking lot where you're going around just checking doors.
Right.
Even though still, like, no, stop that. What are you doing?
But it feels like a Fourth Amendment violation.
It's gotta
out
be.
the jump.
It's gotta be.
I can't understand how this hasn't been brought up before.
Well, somebody has to show
loss.
You got to show. Well, you have to show
damage or whatever.
Something like that. I forget what the word. Standing. You got to have standing in court in order to do it. Like if they didn't do it to your car, you can't go to court and challenge it.
Well, yeah. So he was complaining about it. He goes, "Can I do anything about this?" And I was like, "I would think so. Like, you would definitely need. Like, you can't, but you would need a lawyer."
Yeah.
But I would feel like this is a Fourth Amendment violation.
You know who he should go to is Luke LaRoe.
Oh, Luke LaRoe would do it.
Luke LaRoe would totally do it. I bet you he would be totally in on this.
Yes.
So that's who we should contact would be Luke LaRoe.
And
set up. Here's the thing. It's gonna cost money. Luke LaRoe's not gonna do it for free. He's a capitalist. He's not he's not gonna do it for. But you set up a GoFundMe for something like that, and you know what I'm gonna tell you? You're gonna get some money for that.
You're gonna get some money.
I tell him to contact Luke LaRoe though.
Yeah,
seriously.
I'll let him know. I won't say who it was because he might actually be watching. But yeah, if he is watching, contact Luke LaRoe. But yeah, I wasn't sure how much you knew about that, but yeah, he gave me the paper. I was like, I need this, and he said, "Here, you can have it." I was like, "Thanks."
Yeah,
I'll give it back if you ever decide to do anything. So yeah,
that's bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's just, and again, look, you see these programs like in Pasco, they have a big ad push on. Making sure people lock their doors and lock their cars and things like that. Like, you get a lot of that, but I don't know if they've gone that far in Pasco, even though I'm surprised they haven't.
Right.
Like, if Pinellas is doing it, the authoritarian psychopaths in Pasco are going to do it as well.
No, absolutely. And yes, should you keep your stuff safe? Yes, absolutely. You need to keep your stuff safe because it's your stuff, and and people are shitty. They're going.
But you have the freedom to keep it unlocked if you want to.
Yeah, you can. You absolutely can. I'm just saying you should keep your stuff safe, and for instance, not put all of your Bitcoin into a wallet somebody else is handling.
Yes, this is a problem too.
Sam Bankman-Fried, which he went from the crypto golden boy to a pariah in under 24 hours.
Yeah.
Dude lost more money than Kanye in under 2 days.
Yeah.
Because Kanye lost like $600 million. He lost billions of dollars. And before we get into like everything about that, this one you are going to have your headphones on.
All right. Well, let me get them on.
Who would give this.
So let's say that you have $100 and you want to figure out what you can do with it to help the world. Earning to Give is thinking about which causes, which charities save the most lives per dollar. This $100 can go as far as it possibly can to help the world. The amount of good that you can do for the future of the world is really large, and it's way more than you can do to actually make yourself happy with anything like that amount of money.
And he is funding everything you can think of. Global warming,
It's one of the biggest problems that we have to tackle together as a world.
COVID-19 preparedness,
We have to be ready for the next pandemic.
neglected tropical diseases,
More than 1 billion people suffer from them. We have to eliminate these diseases.
and of course, animal welfare.
Animals deserve to live just like we do. It's also why I'm vegan. Try to think about what are the most important problems facing the world today, and what can you do to help make those as much better as possible.
In the next few decades, Sam may become a trillionaire. He is an example that age is just a number and that making money is not a bad thing as long as you use that money to help the world. All right, we're done, man. Amazing.
Okay, I've never seen any clips of that dude until just now. So my first reaction is that if I were to know, like I didn't have any crypto in his exchange, and if I would have saw the video, I would have pulled my money out immediately. Because he's a fucking tool.
That dude, that was the CEO of a $40 billion company.
Yeah.
He got up in front of people. He was up there with Bill Clinton. He was up there with multiple, he was up at the Global Economic Forum. He was up on stage with these people, dressed how he's dressed in that video, talking how he talks in that video, and people threw money at him.
It's sucker born every minute.
Man, I mean, that's a lot of suckers. That is a lot of suckers to be born every minute. So Sam Bankman-Fried, or SBF as they were calling him before he had his fall from grace, secretly moved $10 billion out of FTX to their trading partner for an unknown reason, and $1 to $2 billion of that money is missing.
Oh, what a jerk.
A fun fact about that trading partner, it's run by his girlfriend.
Yeah, I've heard about this part. This is the part I have heard about.
It's run by his girlfriend. So he took the money, put it into Almeida, the trading company, and then Almeida would then buy back tokens from FTX. And they were doing this in order to keep the stock price going up.
Yeah, to keep the Ponzi scheme going.
To keep the Ponzi scheme going. What he did definitely do before he pulled $10 billion out was pump the Democratic coffers with $40 million.
Of course he did.
Which he did to promote get out the vote campaigns and ballot harvesting mechanisms for the midterms.
Oh.
And then immediately after the midterms, $10 billion gets transferred out. $1 to $2 billion of it's missing, and everybody lost their money.
Wow. Okay, so this is the meme thing. All right, we'll get in. Let's get into this stuff first, and then we'll do the meme thing later.
Oh, all right. So he was calling for more. He was somebody who was out there. He was supporting Kristen Sinema, who we all know. Her dad was one of the lawyers for the NXIVM sex cult. That's true.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
That's
always new things I learn on Muddy Waters and Freedom.
Yeah, her dad was the lawyer for the NXIVM sex cult.
I mean, I'd like to see Kristen Sinema in it. I'm just saying, I like her. She's hot though.
But so she wanted more regulation for the crypto industry. Mm-hmm. He gave so much money to her campaign, which doesn't make sense for somebody in crypto.
Mm-hmm.
$40 million went to Democratic candidates. Many of them want to regulate crypto, but they all took money from crypto. Not only did they take it from crypto, they took it from a guy who robbed a bunch of people. Is he a Trojan horse that was like, oh, we need to get more regulation in this?
I mean, look, it smells like a duck and it quacks like a duck, man. It might be a duck.
It might be a duck. It probably is a duck. Yeah, it is a brutal. It's a brutal scenario, and now he is. I think he's arrested in the Bahamas. Like, I don't know where he is.
Well, I don't think anybody knows where he is right now. At least my last report, the last thing I heard was that nobody can find him.
Okay, so I heard that he was trying to go to a non-extraditing country, but then I heard he was apprehended in the Bahamas or Bermuda or wherever.
Okay.
But they were keeping him in a secure location.
Mm. Well, because they're not going to at the end of the day, they're not going to bust the guy. I mean, he just funded the dim stuff, and so they're not going to bust him on that kind of stuff.
$40 million.
Oh my god. Yeah, they said the only one that gave more money than him was like Soros.
With Soros.
You know, which again, they spent the money well.
They
spent the money well.
They spent the money so well. But the meme thing, what about the meme thing?
Okay, so there was a meme that they put out that the Libertarian Party Nationals account put out.
Yeah.
That had basically like Democrats and this guy and Ukraine in like one meme, and they were considering the meme to be anti-Semitic because the picture of the Freed guy,
Sam
Bankman-Fried, looked similar to a anti-Semitic drawing that was done a long time ago. That was a picture of like a Jewish guy that was like, like a greedy Jewish guy or something like that. Again, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about this later on, right. But like when I saw them, because they were like, oh, this anti-Semitic meme is so bad and this, and I go and look and like, I didn't get it. Like, I'm like, I don't get what the problem is. Then they put one picture next to the other one and I'm like, that's just a little bit of a coincidence. Like, I wouldn't. I
mean, he would have been I'm assuming it's the one where the guy's like posing like.
Yeah. Okay. It was a very unflattering picture of the Freed guy, but an unflattering picture isn't anti-Semitic. I mean, if the guy's Jewish, then he's Jewish. I mean, whatever you're gonna do. But
and to be fair, he doesn't present himself in a flattering way ever.
Fuck no, he doesn't, man. Look at that fucking cat. You got that kind of money, man. How about throwing a fucking suit on?
Like,
you just throw a suit on. Look, I hate these people that will go on to big, huge stages wearing like shit clothes.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's just, look, don't get me wrong. Look, I have a uniform that I wear right now. I have a black shirt on. Not only do I own one black shirt, I own 7 black shirts. Like, I own 7 of exactly the same fucking black shirt. I have the same pants. I have 5 pairs of the same fucking pants. I wear that kind of shit all the time. But if I'm going on a stage somewhere, I'm putting a fucking suit on.
If not a suit, I'm at least doing a button-down shirt and
something.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, I own 8 of these. 8 of these shirts.
Yeah, you're a V-neck guy.
I am a V-neck guy.
You pull it though. You pull it well, dude. I'm giving you credit. You're pulling it well.
All the years of swimming gave me just enough of a chest.
Just enough.
Just enough.
Yeah, no. I got to do this collar right here.
Yeah,
the collar.
The crew neck. Yeah, it feels like.
I did shave for the show though. I did shave. Oh, yeah.
Me too. Last week. So since he gave him $40 million to the Democrats, I'm going to give you a chance to actually talk about the elections. Since you're not on your show, you're not going to be interrupted by Adrian talking about how nobody cares. I'm bored out of my mind.
This fucking guy. I swear to God, though.
So
he does it all the time.
He does it all the time. So for anybody who doesn't know, Adrian Wiley is his co-host on Unattended Baggage. They have been friends for...
Since 29?
Since
2009.
2009? I was like, since 29? That's...
No. Since 2009. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said it wrong.
Yeah. Since 2009. They've been friends forever. They've had their own radio show together. When Alex ran for Senate in 2010, I believe Adrian was on your campaign.
Yeah.
When Adrian ran for governor in 14, yeah, had to math's difficult. In 14, Alex was on his campaign, and Adrian Wiley got the most amount of votes for a libertarian candidate in Florida ever.
Oh yeah, 250. He got a quarter mil. Quarter mil. I only got like 30,000, but he got a quarter mil though.
Right.
He did really well, which is the high water mark. Which that's the one thing. The first thing. Look, I'm happy when these guys run for office. I really am at the end of the day. But at the same time, I really was hoping that whoever ran for governor or Senate here in Florida would have a good showing. And That did not happen, not even remotely. If you're going to decide to get in these races, that are statewide races, you got to get in early for one, and you got to go out there and do the work. And I don't think that was done, and I don't think you want to have a person on the ballot for the sake of having somebody on the ballot. Look, there were positive ramifications that happened after 2014, and that after this election cycle, I think we're going to have a lot more work to do as a political organization in order to exert influence in the state legislature because of this bad showing. Like, I think it's going to hurt things. It's not going to help things.
Right.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong. With that being said, all of that's irrelevant to the overall point that I'm going to make at the end here. But overall, it was a pretty bad night overall for libertarians around the country. In some aspects. I mean, in some aspects it actually was good, but in some aspects it was bad.
Yeah, so there was Chase Oliver in Georgia, fantastic campaign, and he pulled in, what, 1.8 to 2.1% of the
Yeah, it was below 5.
It was below 5.
It was below 5.
It was below 5, but he was a difference maker. He did make the difference. Like, he beat the spread.
Yes. Yeah, he made it go to runoff.
He made it go to runoff.
Which Shane Hazel did not do.
Right, which Shane Hazel did not do. And Shane Hazel, wonderful human being. I love Shane Hazel. I've hung out with him once.
Great orator.
Great speaker. His podcast, fantastic. When he ran for Senate in 20, he caused a runoff.
Mm-hmm.
He caused a runoff. The fact that he wasn't able to gain the ground in governor, I don't think speaks to him. I think that speaks to the election that was happening there.
Yes. Well, and the other thing is this. So, like, one of the things that happened for the governor's race in Georgia is that they let Shane Hazel on the stage for the debate.
Yes.
Now, when it was covered in the media, I actually remember because I was listening to the overnights. Like, I listened to, like, NPR has a update that they do every hour. That's like a 5-minute thing. And Fox News has an update thing that they do every hour that's like a 5-minute thing. And so I was listening that night that they did the debate. In the first, like in one of the NPR podcasts that I listened to, they would say Kemp was in the race. They would play his clip. They said Stacey Abrams is in the race. They'd play his clip. They would acknowledge the Libertarian. Wouldn't play any clip for him. An hour later, no mention of the Libertarian.
Yeah.
Like, so he, like, and again, from seeing clips of Shane Hazel in that debate, he said some awesome stuff that there's no way they could have let that on the air because people would have started going, well, who's this Shane Hazel guy?
Yeah, he did. So he did fantastic in the debate, and it was one of the most fun debates I have watched because you get to see a libertarian in a debate. You don't get to see that.
Especially somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. When Chase Oliver was in the debate with Raphael Warnock, the other guy.
Herschel Walker.
Thank you. Herschel Walker. Because it's Warnock and Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like always like, I get tripped up on it.
Yeah.
When Herschel Walker didn't show, and Warnock was trying to debate Walker, who wasn't there, and Chase just kept hammering him. And he's like, why are you debating an empty podium? I am right here. Why can't you answer my questions? And he was hitting him so hard. Chase did a fantastic job in that debate.
Yeah, he sounds like a good candidate too, though. Overall,
he's a good speaker. He's a good speaker. He's driven. He does not take crap, and he pushes through. But before we get into like the libertarian stuff, let's talk about the election and how it turned out, because it was kind of. Before the election happened, everybody was saying this was going to be a red wave.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
As of right now, the Republicans still haven't technically won the House.
That's right. They think they are now, though.
Right.
They're kind of calling it, but they haven't really called it.
Right.
But they're kind of calling
it, but not really, because it could still switch. Because I think Lauren Boebert, who should have won hers by 9, because I think she's in a plus 7, plus 8 district. She should have won hers by 9. She is currently waiting to find out if she won, and she has less than a 0.5 percentage point lead with 99% in.
God damn. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's totally hot, but she's totally crazy.
She's crazy.
Crazy as a shithouse rat, man.
She is insanely crazy. But according to Politico, They said that roughly 3 in 4 voters described the condition of the U.S. economy as either poor or not so good.
Yeah.
And 73% said that they were dissatisfied or angry about the way things are going in the country today.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have 3/4 of the country dissatisfied with how things are going in the country today, or that the economy is poor, and go in and not vote for a third party or not vote against the party in power?
Okay, so why did the Republicans lose is basically the question.
Yeah, it's basically the question.
All right, so from an outsider's perspective looking in, I think that the reason why is, look, you got a bunch of people that ran on election denial stuff. Like the 2020 election was rigged and that they weren't letting that stuff go. And because of that, I think that they weren't able to get people to vote for those people. And I think that Trump played a big factor in why they lost. It's the same reason they lost in Georgia for the runoffs, because Trump acted like a fool.
Yes.
And it was the same reason that they lost a lot of the seats here, except for, look, because here's the thing. If you look at just the state of Florida, there was totally a red wave. Totally a red wave.
You could also look at New York.
Yeah, even though that guy didn't win.
But a lot of the House.
But the House seats went that way.
And a lot of the locals, and especially the school boards in New York, went that way.
Yeah. So, but if you look at those two states, that the Republicans did well. Again, whether you like them or don't like them is irrelevant to the I'm giving just a prognostication of it.
Right.
So if you look at, they did well in Florida. They did phenomenally well in Florida. Look, they took school board seats in Miami-Dade County, which if you're not familiar with Florida, if there is a blue area of Florida, it's Miami-Dade County. And Miami-Dade County went Republican. DeSantis in the last time that he ran for office, it was a very, very slim margin
30,
against the guy that turned out being like a crackhead, and now against Charlie Crist, the guy that was governor before as a Republican that supposedly knows what he's doing.
And a current congressman.
Yeah. And a current congressman got smoked. I mean, got smoked bad by DeSantis. So you got to give, look, in all reality though, I don't give DeSantis the credit for what happened in Florida. I actually give credit to Blaze and Goglia, which anybody listening to the show is not going to know who the fuck I'm talking about. But Blaze was the actual person that was running the Republican Party a couple years back when they switched their strategy to increase voter registration in order to get Republicans elected. Like the strategy that they used, which we'll talk about today on the show,
right,
was that even though they had a large number of people that were registered Republicans, they were laser focused on switching people over to Republican. Even in deep red counties, they were still like and again, I have been in rec meetings. And in those rec meetings, I was listening to what they were saying, and I was in Blaze's rec, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
And what they were talking about was, how do we increase registered voters? How do we increase registered voters? How do we increase registered voters? That's constantly, because there is one truth in politics more than any other truth in politics, is that people vote their party. That's what they do, man. Look, and you can hate that. You can think it's stupid. You can think it's being a bunch of sheep or whatever you want to think, but it's still the truth. It's human nature. If they're registered in that party, they're probably going to go out and vote for the people within that party. It's just the way it is. Blaze knew that. Blaze put it together in a way in which they were the future success of the party here in Florida was attributable to the actions he took while he was the chairman. And as a matter of fact, I actually sent him a message, and actually, again, I'm not a Republican, anymore. I did register Republican for a while, so I don't want to say that I didn't. I'll own that scarlet letter for the rest of my life. I'm a registered libertarian now. I will never go back to any other party but the LP, unless it's the Pirate Party. That's the only other party. But if I'm going to the Pirate Party, that means that I've actually given up altogether.
Yeah, I won't go back to the LP. Yeah, I just won't. Actually, I think I'm registered LP right now. I don't even know who I'm registered for anymore.
Yeah.
I left a while ago during the goat drinking guys.
Yeah. I got you. No, it makes sense.
Yeah, and then I came back. I came back later just to make sure that the numbers here in Florida would get us to where we needed to be.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've noticed, since 2000, since the year 2000, George W. Bush, Al Gore, the only election that hasn't had people saying there's obviously voter fraud or intimidation or, insert whatever you want there. I think I wrote something else down. But that was since 2000, the only election that hasn't had anything like that is 2012. In 2004, people were like, okay, more people showed up to vote than ever, so obviously John Kerry is going to win, and then George Bush won. So people were saying this has to be voter fraud in some way. In 2008, when McCain lost to Obama, you had people out there saying areas of Pennsylvania voted 107% in districts for Barack Obama, so that means that they had people voting that weren't in the district or that were dead or whatever, and so they were calling for investigation there. 2012, I don't really remember anything. Mitt Romney, for as much as I hate that guy, he just said, "Nope, I concede, I lost. I wish him luck," and that was it. It was over. 2016, we all remember Russian interference, Russian collusion, Russian whatever. 2020, you've got the Republicans out there saying that there was voter fraud. You've got the 2,000 Mules by Dinesh D'Souza. This year, you're already seeing Republicans saying, obviously, there was something going on in Maricopa County. There should have been a red wave. I can't believe there wasn't a red wave. How long until people no longer trust elections and fight?
Well, I think that they don't really trust them now. So I think right now, they don't really trust them right now. Now, here's the thing. Look, remember when Lucas ran here locally? He ran for Congress. Yeah. You remember that. Yeah, I know. Sore subject. I'm sorry. So when Lucas ran, we really thought Lucas was going to do a lot better than he did. Yeah. And he ended up doing bad. We went back and looked at and did the whatever you call it. What's the name for it? We went back and looked at the votes. We went to the supervisor of elections, said we want to audit a precinct. We audited a precinct. We audited a couple precincts. We got to pick the precincts, and we went in and we audited the precincts. And what we found out was the numbers that they were telling us was pretty much exact to the numbers that they were doing. Right. Like, it wasn't voter fraud. Like, we thought, well, maybe they were colluding to screw us over. They weren't doing that to screw us over.
So was that the special or was that the other one?
I don't remember which one. It was one of them, though.
Yeah, because the special, like, that was when Alex Sink and David
I think it was the special. Yeah,
Alex Sink and David Jolly, and the Democrats and the Republicans pumped so much money into that special, even though there was going to be another election in November. Yeah. And the Democrats spent so many millions. It was, I believe at the time, it was the most expensive congressional campaign ever.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and then I'm certain it's been blown out of the water by now, but yeah, everybody thought, okay, because it was so close, because I think David Jolly beat Alex Sink by 2 percentage points. That was why we were thinking maybe they messed with the
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and look, we didn't trust the system then, and I don't blame people for not trusting the system. By the way, so let me just say this. Here's the other thing: what we have going on right now is. Once COVID hit, there's some things that changed in elections. One of them being, in some states, they are just mass mailing out ballots. Yes. En masse mailing out ballots. Now, that is rife for fraud. Just rife for it. And it's fraud on both sides. And because both sides are claiming fraud, if they mass mail out ballots, let's say they mail it to a house that you don't know, right? Like they mail it out to a house, some guy gets it. Nobody knows he has it. He's the only one that knows that he's got this ballot. And let's say he's either a Republican or a Democrat. Either one. It won't matter either way. They're going to look at that ballot and go, well, the other side's cheating, so I'm going to go ahead and mark this one and I'm going to send it in. Because they're going to justify their actions as an individual.
As negating somebody else.
As negating, like they're justify it, right? The second thing you have is ballot harvesting, which actually, I will say, we were actually trying to go to the Florida legislature before 2020 to tell them to not allow for ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting is not good. Ballot harvesting is bad. I will agree. Ballot harvesting is rife for fraud. It is rife for it. There is no getting around that. That should not be how you do elections. Should not be to have one person to be able to go around and collect ballots for people. No. Like, just the thing is this, like, they're mail-in ballots. Part of that word is mail. And it doesn't mean man. It means fucking turn it into the fucking post office.
Right. It doesn't mean that Pepe that swings by is like, hey, I'm here to collect all of the ballots.
Yeah.
I'm going to go turn them in for you.
No. Like,
he shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Look, I want everybody to be able to vote. Like, I really do. I want everybody to be able to vote. But here's the thing. You got to make it at least... You have to actually go and vote. Like, if you're going to mail it or turn it in or go early or whatever. Look, there's so many opportunities to go and vote that these people that are acting like, well, somehow the votes are being suppressed. Dude, you find me a motherfucker that couldn't go and vote. Like, really, seriously, find me somebody that couldn't go and vote. I'll wait. It ain't going to happen. Everybody can go and vote if they want to go and vote. Now, I will say this, though. The people that were watching the ballot or watching the drop boxes, I think it was in Arizona, that were doing it armed, masked and armed, that was a little creepy, by the way. Yeah. I did not like that per se. Because you looked like a fucking terrorist when you were doing it. Like, here's the thing. If you're going to do that, then show your face.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, you're saying COVID's over, guys. COVID's over. No need to cover your fucking face down.
You don't have to wear a mask anymore.
Yeah, no mask needed.
You don't have to wear a mask. You guys hated the masks when you had to wear them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did not agree with that. Like, if you want to watch the ballots, I don't care. Go ahead. But the fact that you were doing it in that sense, like, I feel you were trying to intimidate. Even if you weren't, even if in your, whichever way you were trying to make it okay in your head, if you were not trying to intimidate, you were trying to intimidate.
Mm-hmm.
But I see both, like, I see both sides of why people think this election was fraud. Because
absolutely,
inflation being where it is, gas prices being where they are, the fact food is so expensive. I could, so many different things just flooded my mind at once, and I had a quick shutdown. He had the best showing of a midterm. Joe Biden had the best showing of a midterm election since George Bush in 2002.
Yeah, when
everybody was on the heels of 9/11, patriotism, like there was a ton of unity. Right now, we are not unified. Not even close.
Well, no, but here's the thing, though. But if you look at the overall numbers, though, Republicans did way better than Republicans actually in the general ballot got 5% more than the Democrats did. It was just specific races. Now, the strategy that the Dems used. Now, there was a strategy that the Dems used, and the strategy was they ran ads in favor of pro-MAGA, whatever you want to call it, candidates in primaries. So those guys would win primary elections.
To be easier to beat.
To be easier to beat in the general, which I did not agree with. I think it's an immoral act to do.
I also didn't think it was going to work.
And I didn't think it was going to work, but it totally worked.
It worked.
It was totally a thing that worked. And you know what? I mean, again, I think it's cynical. I think that they weren't serious when they said that there was this threat to democracy that they were talking about.
Because they put them in.
Because they're the ones that were, but they did it so they could win those primaries.
Yes.
And I think that strategy ended up working for them. Again, whether I agree with the strategy or not, I would never do something like that. But it worked. You can't say it didn't work because it did work. I mean, they were able to do something that you never can do during the midterms. And the other part about this is you have to lay the blame, a lot of the blame, on one person in particular, and that's Donald Trump.
Yes.
You have to put some of the blame on this fucking guy. I've never met anybody that is so fucking arrogant and thin-skinned at the same fucking time. It is amazing how thin-skinned and arrogant he is. And again, he doesn't really care about anybody else but himself. And he doesn't care about the Republican Party. Again, I don't care about the Republican Party, but I'm not a registered Republican. I don't have a fiduciary responsibility to the Republican Party. You know what I mean? Like, this guy did everything he could to either his guys win, who don't give a fuck about anything else other than him losing the 2020 election, right, which he fucking lost. Like, let's just get through it right now. He lost that election. They can't prove one fucking thing that they can't prove the fraud in court. Whether it exists or not is irrelevant.
Whether or not you can prove it.
And you can't prove it, so move the fuck on. Like, you lost. Sometimes you lose these fucking things. But you being a big fucking baby and thin-skinned like a motherfucker would cause you to to be so like, well, fuck it. If I can't win, nobody can win, and I'm just going to throw it all away and grab my shit and go home. Like he's a baby. He's a little child.
He is. But by the time this show ends, he may have announced his presidency.
Probably
because I think it's at 9 tonight that he's going to be doing that. But since then, he has gone after DeSantis, who's the new rising star in the GOP.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone after Youngkin in Virginia, who's another rising star. He's gone after Winsome Sears, the lieutenant governor of Virginia, because she said, I think Trump's the reason that we lost this election. And he went after her so hard.
Yeah.
The black female former, I think she was an Air Force pilot. That's the lieutenant governor of Virginia. He goes after her. He's been going after all of the Republicans that are the rising stars of the Republican Party, trying to take him down. And I think right now, very early prediction that whoever the Democrats pick in 24 is going to win, because I think that Trump will lose the primary and run third party.
Ooh, that's a bold prediction. You know
what?
what?
It's a very early one. I could be 100% wrong.
I haven't even thought of it that way, but I mean, now that you say that, it's possible. I mean, mark the tape. Mark the tape. That's a good one.
If it has a lot of callbacks to Teddy Roosevelt, William Taft, Woodrow Wilson, and Teddy Roosevelt was mad that William Taft was getting the spotlight, so he's like, "Okay, I'm going to run again." And Taft was like, "Well, you're going to have to primary me." He challenged Roosevelt challenged the results of the primary. When it was decided that he lost, he ran third party, which gave us Woodrow Wilson, which gave us World War II. Because without Woodrow Wilson, we wouldn't have had World War II. So I'm seeing a very similar thing happening here in 2022, where this could just be repeating itself.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You're a good student of history, man. I like that. You always bring up things at a good point. You know what I mean? Like you kind of roll it around and bring it all together in a way that I always like that.
Right. But no,
not to get on your dick during the show, but I'm just saying, you know, if I got to sit over here, you know.
No, I don't think Trump's going to run as a libertarian. To the people that were saying that in the comments, I do not think that he's going to start his own Freedom Party, whatever. Didn't he start the Reform Party or something?
No, Ross Perot started the Reform Party, but I think there was a certain point where he was in the Reform Party, though.
Okay,
because him, like Jesse Ventura was in the Reform Party. I mean, the Reform Party sucks for all intents and purposes, but they never did what they needed to do.
Right.
And everybody used it as a vehicle, which we're going to get into this tonight too. Right. But everybody used it as a vehicle, but in selfish ways. And it never was able to gain any traction because they didn't actually they didn't believe in anything but, you know, like reform. But what was even the reform that they were going to do? So,
right.
You know.
So we'll use that as the kicking off point to the next one. So the Reform Party, obviously, Ross Perot was a fantastic human being and one of the greatest political minds of our generation.
Yeah.
I love Ross Perot.
I love Ross Perot. Can I finish? Can I finish, Larry? Larry, can I finish? Can I finish? You get that giant sucking sound.
You're going to hear a giant sucking sound coming out of Mexico.
Oh, God, I loved it. That was the first... I will say Ross Perot was the first politician that I did an impression of.
Really?
As a kid, yeah. That was the first one.
Yeah, I did him, and then I did George Bush immediately after that.
Yeah, not gonna do.
Not gonna do.
Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture.
Basically, if Dana Carvey did it, I learned how to do the voice.
Yes, Dana Carvey, yes. Yep, Dana Carvey.
So he started the Reform Party, and other politicians started using it as jumping off points. How does that correlate to where we are today in the Libertarian Party?
Okay, so...
I can't believe I pulled that together at the end.
You did. Yeah. You did a good job. That was a great... I shouldn't say it was a great segment because it ruins the greatness of the segment, but it was a great segment. I
had to pat myself on the back for that one.
All right, so the last time I was on this show, and we talked about the Mises Caucus, I wasn't anti-Mises. I like those guys. I said, you know, let them take over and let's see what's going to happen. So we've now seen this, and now we have some data that we can look at here. But I wanted to make a couple things clear first. The Mises Caucus is a partisan caucus within the Libertarian Party. The Libertarian Party is a partisan organization that is a political party. The Mises Caucus said themselves, and this is their own thing, they want to take over the Libertarian Party.
Yes.
They have succeeded in doing that. Their chairs installed, their people are in leadership positions. They run the roost right now. With that victory comes a fiduciary responsibility to the party. Now, is it something that could I point to something that would have it written down somewhere? Kinda, but not really. It's not really the same thing because caucuses are a little bit different in that aspect. However, if you're a caucus within a political party, you're supposed to be supporting that political party. That's the way it is. Now, supporting a candidate, Mark Victor, to drop out 2 weeks or a week before the election to endorse Blake Masters goes against every bit of that fiduciary responsibility. It just goes against it. Now, could you think that it was a good idea, like based off of principle? Like maybe the Libertarian was a horrible candidate and maybe the Republican was like a really good Liberty candidate? I mean, I wouldn't agree with that because I still think you're a partisan organization and that you shouldn't do that. But I at least would be able to point to a principle that goes along with that. There is no such principle you can point to for why this happened. None. Not even a little bit. Blake Masters was a bad candidate as far as Liberty goes. Victor, again, if this is what your move was going to be, you should have never run as a Libertarian. This does nothing to advance the cause of liberty. What it did do, and this is the point I want to make on this, what it did do was it gave a very limited number of people a seat, or a supposed seat at the big boys table to be able to influence Blake Masters to do the right thing if he wins, which there was no... He didn't win. He got killed. He got beat. I mean, he didn't get beat. He didn't get killed. Hold on. He didn't get killed. He lost, but he lost. Yeah. And these guys threw the Libertarian Party under the bus in order to gain access to that person. And to, again, have that seat at the big boys table. Now, the Mises Caucus has kind of said in many ways that when challenged on this one, they're like, well, we're here for liberty. We're not here for a party. Or, along those lines. Again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure people can point to things that they've said that hasn't been this way. But the thing about it is they have said in some ways exactly what they're going to do. And that they view the LP as a vehicle. But the part that they didn't really talk about was their willingness to throw that vehicle under the bus at the worst possible moment. And what they did and what they've exposed themselves now as is that what they did with Blake Masters shows that I cannot trust any candidate that they endorse. I can't trust not a one of them. And where it really is going to come into play is going to be in 2024 for president. Is that I know that they had inklings of like Dave Smith running for president in 2024. There is no way, shape, manner, or form that guy should run for president as a libertarian, nor should any libertarian vote for him. And the reason why is simple. When the push comes to shove, he views the Republicans better than he views the Democrats, and he will get out of the race and endorse whoever the Republican nominee is in order to gain influence. Because he doesn't care about the Libertarian Party, he cares about his own personal influence that he is able to generate. And he will throw this party under the bus in order to do that. And I think, at least my opinion on the matter, is that is a bridge not only way too far, but that you are shirking your responsibility when you do something like this. This is so much over a line that it is beyond belief. Again, Look, I've said what I was going to say about this when it comes to like online and stuff like that. Because I don't know if you saw this. There was one of the Libertarian Party discussion group pages. I went on a fucking rant. Here's the thing. I wish I need to not do talk to text. I need to not do this. Right. Because I realize now how many times I use the word fuck. And I use the word fuck a lot. If I type something out, I don't use the word fuck nearly as much. But I wrote this thing out and I said it. And then I posted it, and then I look back and I'm like, man, I did use the word fuck a lot on there. And then I kind of did. But I meant it though. And these motherfuckers, like, I think that we've now had 2 years of the Mises guys being in charge.
Is it 2? I thought it was only 1.
Well, I guess it is only 1. No, you're right. Hold on, I take it back. We've had a year of them being in charge, but we've had an election cycle of them being in charge too.
Right.
And what I have seen now shows me, one, they actually, look, these guys acted like they were the political operatives coming in here, like they knew what they were doing, that they could play the 4D chess and they could do all this other shit. This election has showed me they have no fucking idea what they're doing. None. They don't know. They're politically retarded, for lack of a better term. They're not good. Look, this whole Blake Masters.
It was fun being on YouTube for a little while.
Oh, was it? Oh, is it that? Does that mess it up?
That one kicks us off YouTube.
Does it really? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You gotta warn me about this stuff. All right, so
I don't know if we have enough people there watching that they're going to catch it immediately, but that one will be pulled later.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll try to be more careful. Politically, this Blake Masters thing showed me right now they don't know what they're doing, because there was no tactical advantage for Mark Victor to get out of the race. His name was still going to be on the ballot. There was no getting his name off of the ballot. You had to make this move earlier in order for that to be effective.
For that ploy to work.
So you couldn't do it that way. Any political operative worth their salt would have told you that this was a worthless endeavor, but they didn't care. And they didn't care because they got to talk to Blake Masters. Did he give you the cell phone number, guys? Is that what it is? You got his cell phone number and he said he could talk to you whenever. You got played. You got played like a bunch of little bitches. Is bitches getting kicked off?
No, bitches.
Bitches getting kicked? Okay. No. So you got played like a bunch of little bitches because you don't know what you're doing. And that's the part that pisses me off the most. And look, I can understand you being mad at the prior administration in the LP. Like they did not do their job in order to grow the party. I totally get you on that. The reason you won was because of that. But the problem is that since you've been in there, you've done nothing to bring everybody together. You've done nothing to grow the party, really.
So with them, okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, I used to sell real estate. And there is a thing about swimming pools in real estate, because people will have pools in their backyard and they'll be like, okay, I've got a pool in my backyard that has to add value. And it doesn't. It adds zero value to your house having a pool in the backyard. Because of how much work it takes, you're going to have people that really want it and they'd be willing to pay a little bit more, but you have people who won't want to pay as much because it has the pool. That is, the Mises Caucus is the pool in the backyard. I think that they are drawing a lot of people to the party, but I think they're running off the equal amount of people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, and you need, the thing is this, look, they always talk about like left-leaning libertarian or right-leaning libertarian. In some aspects, I do understand the point that they're making with that. However, you need them all in order to do it. You need all of them. And if you are being so antagonizing towards one grouping of people, then you're not the right people to be in charge. Look, here's the thing. You've pissed me off. And I got to tell you, I was actually not, like, I wasn't opposed to you guys.
No.
I wasn't opposed at all. Like, I wasn't even remotely, like, I wanted to see what you would do. And I understood your problem with the prior administrations. And I understood that you need a message that's going to cater. Look, the Libertarian Party should be the big tent party. It totally should be the big tent party. But that means that anybody that doesn't believe in being a big tent party can't really be in leadership, because what they're going to do is, look, one side's like, well, all the people that are Republicans, we're getting rid of them, right? Well, all the people that are Democrats, we're going to get rid of them. Instead of saying, like, where do we all agree on, and then move on from there? One of the biggest issues, by the way, that I think that the Mises Caucus guys are where they really have a problem with other libertarians is immigration. I think immigration is a big one. That they want, like they want the wall. They want, they don't want what people would consider to be open borders.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna have to defend some of the Mises on this one, because
Please do.
Yeah, because I know a lot of Mises people. I'm friends with a good amount of Mises people, especially here in Florida, and some of them are, yeah, we need the wall. I don't agree with the wall. Like, I'm more open borders. I think that we should allow free passage. If you want to install something where you sign a book and you have to get tested for diseases, and like we can
run a background check.
Background check.
Yeah,
totally fine. Totally fine with that. I don't think that we should have the free moving. I think it should be more like an Ellis Island situation.
Yes.
I don't think
I'm totally in agreement with you on that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think we need the wall. But I know a lot of Mises people who feel the same way that we do, that it should be an Ellis Island situation. But I think that what most of them think with the wall, and I could be wrong, and I'm guessing because I've kind of gone through multiple phases of immigration in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, okay, we need to, personally, I thought, I went from, we need to have border security just standing there, making sure nobody crosses over except in these places. So that way we know who's coming in, who's going out. And that border patrol should be there until we get rid of the social safety nets that are costing taxpayer dollars. So that way people aren't coming over and just immediately jumping on different types of welfare and things like that.
Okay.
I've changed since then and now more Ellis Island, but we still need to get rid of the social safety nets that people are using to.
Yeah. You got to get rid of in some aspects, you got to get rid of the welfare state. When it comes to immigration, and the reason I brought that issue up is that's one of those things where if you are pro open borders or whatever they would call open borders, that considers you to be this left libertarian where they can demonize you for this, right? Or if you're too much with LGBT rights or you think racism is a problem or systemic racism is a problem or something, like there were some certain issues where I noticed that these guys would kind of harp on a little bit in order to point out the negative in the people that used to be in charge of the LP, which, again, that's all changed now. They bought the car, they own the car, they're driving the car. It's your responsibility to keep it full of gas and to grow it.
Right. Yeah, and I will never, ever, 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 ever defend anybody that used to be in power in the Libertarian Party because Nick Sarwark was terrible.
Nick Sarwark was the impetus for why these guys did what they did.
Exactly.
Like he's got to take a little ownership of that.
He absolutely does. If he wasn't trying to push people out as hard as he was, they wouldn't have reacted stronger in the opposite direction.
Yes.
And before that, you had Wes Benedict. And Wes Benedict, during the special election that Lucas was in, came down here to St. Petersburg, where Lucas was running, and did a radio interview and said, libertarians don't run to win elections, they run to spread ideas. In the middle of the campaign.
Oh, yeah. No, and we gave Wes hell for that one. Now, I will say this. Hold on. To Wes's credit later on. Wes realized the error of his ways because we gave him a lot of shit for that. And after that time frame, I actually worked with Wes because like during the 16 election, I helped with ballot access around the country for libertarians where I actually worked for the National Party and went to states that they needed to get signatures for and collected signatures for. And then I ended up working at the national headquarters for a little while to get the mailings out because they were... Okay, look, they were weeks behind on mailings, right? They were so far backlogged on mailings, it wasn't even funny. So they sent me and Danielle to the national headquarters to get it started. So me and Danielle went downstairs and they kind of showed us like what was going on in the bottom part, like
Danielle. For anybody who doesn't know, Danielle is his wife.
Yes, yeah, one of them. So what they did was they sent me and Danielle down to wherever in Virginia the national headquarters is at.
Alexandria, right?
I think it was Alexandria. So we went down to the basement, and they showed us like the layout of how they're doing it, right? And as soon as they walk out, me and Danielle look at each other like, well, we're totally going to change this up, right? Yeah, well, we're going to change this up. So we went downstairs, completely revamped their entire fucking system, right?
It's weird that you and Danielle would do that.
I know. Amazing, right? Amazing we would go in there, tell you you're all fucked up, and then fix it, right? And then we went down there, fixed it all. And the thing is this, we got them from weeks behind to caught up because they had 3 teams of people that were boxing stuff up. We would get 250 packages done a day. And the rest of the teams would get like 150 a day done. So they had 2 teams against us. Not against us, but that's the way we kind of put it out. But
well, yeah, I mean, life is a competition.
That's right. That's right. So we had all these and they were paying us big money for this too, by the way. Like we were getting paid like $25 an hour or some shit. But we were worth every fucking penny. Because in the beginning, we're like, oh, look, if you want us to come back, we can come back. And they're like, oh, I don't think we're going to need you to fly back up to do this. That would be too much of a cost of money. Literally 2 days after we left, they call us up and say, hey, can you come back up here? So, can you come back up for a couple more weeks? So we went back up there for a couple more weeks. And basically, handled the shipping for the National Party and was really, I mean, we did a really good job of it. I actually wanted them to, excuse me, I actually wanted to take it over and like have it come down to Florida so I could just run it like at a warehouse down here and do it. But it ended up not working out that way. And I wouldn't do it now with these guys, but it didn't work out that way. And it's unfortunate that it didn't work out that way, but it's again, it's not a problem. But what was the point we were making on this one, though? Fuck.
So, yes, West Benedict.
Oh, the West Benedict
right,
stuff.
Yeah, West Benedict. That was my introduction to West Benedict. So, like, because I had just come down to Florida 6 months before that, and I joined the Libertarian Party when I came down here. Because in Tennessee, I believe I was no party, and when I was living in Tennessee. Or independent or whatever. And then I moved down here. I joined the Libertarian Party and immediately started working campaigns when I met you. When I met you out door knocking. So I was like, okay, this guy sucks. And then Sarwar came in, he took over his chair, and I was like, well, at least he probably won't do anything like this. And then everything he did was to try to push people out of the party. He wouldn't support candidates that he didn't like. He actively went out and didn't talk. Except for, like, didn't he support Augustus at one point?
Who's that?
Sarwark.
I can't say he did. I can't. Okay. I don't remember that. I can't say he did. I know there were people down here that were nicer to Augustus because they wanted to be mean to, like they were doing it to oppose us. They were willing to support that guy,
right? Because
they thought that the competition to him was somebody that we had handpicked to run against him. Which, in all reality, we didn't do. That dude just decided to run. It had nothing to do with Adrian.
That dude. I was trying to remember that guy's name earlier today, and I can't remember. Paul Stanton?
Yeah. Paul Stanton. Yep, that was Paul Stanton.
Paul Stanton. Yeah, I remember Paul.
He always wore shirts that didn't fit.
Yes, he did.
It pissed me off. It really did. Like, I know it seems like a weird thing, but like he just wore shirts that didn't fit, and I was so angry.
Say what you will about Augustus Invictus, his shirts fit.
He wore three-piece suits, man. I gotta tell you, I have a softness for three-piece suits, almost like black men in sweaters.
Yeah,
I have it. It's like a kryptonite thing.
It is. I get it.
I happened to that with down in Clearwater. It was a guy was a Scientologist.
Yeah,
but he was standing up like we were at the Starbucks that was right near where all the Scientologists are at.
Right. Well, and that's Clearwater. So.
Yeah, Clearwater. So I was standing out front. And this dude come up, it was a black guy in a sweater vest, and he started talking to me, and I just started talking back to him. And I was smoking a cigarette outside at the time, and Danielle and Adrian come up to me, and they go, do you know who that is? I'm like, no, who is it? Seems like a nice enough guy. You know, black guy sweater vest. I mean, how bad can it be? And they were like, oh, no, he's a Scientologist. And I guess he was trying to get me to go to this place, and I just wouldn't do it because I was out smoking a cigarette.
To get your thetans read?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, every time that we were door knocking up in that area, like, Scientologists would see me and start talking to me, I'd be like, no. No. Look, I'm in the Libertarian Party. I understand cults. You can keep moving. Yeah, so, like, with a lot of the stuff that you're saying with me, like, I left, like, I might be registered LPF, but I'm not a member of the Libertarian Party. And I was in 2020, but that was actually a NAP violation because somebody else signed me up and paid for my membership. And then I just got it in the mail. But, like, I was a member of the Libertarian Party then. I let it lapse. I was not a member of the LPF at the time. I think that I'm registered LPF, but I'm not like a member of the LPF. I don't do anything with them.
Yeah.
And what people have always said, one of the long-running jokes about libertarianism is you become a libertarian, 6 months later you're an anarchist. For many people, it's not 6 months, it's a little bit longer. And the reason that is because many of them are coming from Democrat parties or Republican parties, just because libertarians didn't raise kids, like, until recently, for the most part.
Yeah.
So libertarians didn't really raise kids, so nobody was growing up libertarian. So they were coming from one of the other two parties, and they come to the Libertarian Party, and still true to this day, has not changed. When somebody is in the Libertarian Party and they're sitting there and they're sitting at a national convention or their state convention and people are arguing and bickering and you see death threats happening, which is weird for a group of people that believe in the NAP, they go, obviously this is not the right party for me, because if these people were in power, how could they be any different than the people that are in power right now? And they are like Nobody should be in power. Absolutely nobody should be in power. I'm now an anarchist and I'm out of this stupid party, just like I was out of the other stupid parties. The Libertarian Party turns people to anarchy.
I don't disagree with that at all. Matter of fact, I think that you're right. The problem in the LP is multifold. One, there still is an actual discussion going on right now as to the purpose of a political party. And that is one of the things, if there's one thing that pisses me off the most, it's this right now. Because, again, it was from the founding. It's almost like the fatal flaw of the people that started this. Because David Nolan was one of the original founders of the party.
Right.
And he is highly revered by many, many people. I am not in that mix of people that revere him. I do not. I've met him. I met him in 2009, or I met him in 2010. He didn't understand the purpose of a political party, and I believe that if you want to talk about, fraud, he formed the party under fraudulent circumstances.
Yes. Because
a party is a political organization that is there for two purposes and two purposes alone. One, increase the number of registered voters within the party. Two, get their candidates elected. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, you can say, well, we want to promote the message. We want to influence things. I have no problem with that, and I think it's very needed. But that's not the primary purpose of a political party. And honestly, the one point I wanted to, the point I really wanted to make is that, look, all this talk about the Mises Caucus and like them taking over and doing all this other stuff. Look, they may have taken over the party, but the party is just as irrelevant as it was before. It's not any different. And the reason why is, look, and I've talked to some of these guys till I'm blue in the face. They don't hear me and they don't want to hear me. But until we organize from the bottom up at the precinct level, you're always going to get results like we got in this last election cycle. And the reason why is, and we talked about this before, people vote party. Again, I go back to that when I was going to the Rex. The Republican Party here in Florida, there was a certain amount of time that I was a registered Republican going to rec meetings, listening to what they had to say. Now, part of it was just because, I was just a registered Republican at the time, and so I went to the rec meetings. But the other one was to see how the fuck they do it. And I watched how the fuck they do it. And you know what? I got to tell you.
So you James O'Keefe'd the Republican Party.
Kind of, yeah. A little bit. Because it didn't change my views on it. Matter of fact, it only solidified my views on it. But at the time, again, there were some things that made a lot of sense. The Augustus thing, and I was like, let me go try another strategy, because this strategy obviously wasn't working. Like when you had some of these people in the LPF here in Florida literally support the Nazi, against me and Adrian and Danielle,
and me
and you,
and me.
Yeah, and you, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry.
I wrote the article.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? I'm sorry. So when they went after us on this one, I was really kind of hurt. I was raw. I was feeling a certain way about it. And so, but I'm actually really glad I went to the Republican rec meetings, because the thing is this, principle wise, like what that party believes in, of course, there's nothing you can take from it. Nothing at all. Organizing a political party, though, definitely something you can take from that. And the one thing you can take from that is what Blaze did in Florida. Because when Blaze took over Florida in the Republican Party, the Dems were number one. Okay.
Real quick, Blaze is not the Blaze that Glenn Beck owns. Blaze is actually a person.
He's a state senator now.
Yeah.
Blaze and Goglia, he's a state senator.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows that he's not talking about the Glenn Beck programming app.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You're right. I appreciate the clarification.
Yeah, no problem. I know who you're talking about. Many people here don't.
Yeah, I got you. So if you look at the way that they were the minority party in Florida, they were second to Democrats in Florida, and it wasn't even maybe 6 years. Yeah, 2018.
In 2018, just so everybody knows, the Republican Party was 300,000 ish. Give or take 25,000 registered voters under the Democrats. Today, I believe they are 400,000 up.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
So you have to look at what is successful and mimic that. Take a best practice and move it within your own organization. And the way that they did that was they were able to register voters within their party. We can do the same thing. The thing about it is this. Have you ever had a libertarian knock on your door and ask you to register as a libertarian?
No.
Like, have you ever even seen that? So what I'm going to start doing in January, look, a bunch of years back, we wrote a book called The Neighborhood Project.
Yes.
And the book that we wrote, The Neighborhood Project, was how to basically, gain political power within your own precinct. It was a book written specifically for the end user, where you live, not with any party in mind. It was actually written in a nonpartisan way. It was not written partisan. Yep. However, it's very easily converted to partisan. So what I'm going to do, and look, we've been busy, we've been doing other things, life's gotten in the way. So I wasn't able to sit there and prove concept, which I will say is a failing on my part. I totally take ownership of that failing, and I'm going to fix that failing now. So my goal is I'm going to go into the precinct I live in now, which I have not lived in very long, so I will have no tactical advantage of being there. None of these people are going to know who the fuck I am. Like, it ain't going to be like, oh, it's Alex Snitker, so let me go ahead and fucking sign up Libertarian. It ain't going to happen.
I've gone out and knocked doors with you in many precincts that weren't yours, and our candidates did not do well.
Yes, yes. So what I am going to do though is I'm going to go out and I'm going to systematically, and I'm going to take video and kind of do step-by-step process and show people how to do it. But my goal is to get my precinct to 20% registered Libertarian. And I actually think that I can do it. Right now, there's like 6,300 people in my precinct. I have to have like 1,000 and something in order to get to the 20%. And I'm going to do it systematic. I'm actually going to go to Libertarians first, let them know what I'm doing, see who's going to be get on board with it. Then I'm going to go to the rest. And I'm looking at it as funnels. So the first funnel is going to be that I can just get their email address to send them a monthly newsletter. The second one is to get them to register Libertarian. And if they register Libertarian, then I'm going to do something different with those people. But the reason that I'm getting them to a monthly newsletter part first is that if you read the book, The Neighborhood Project, the way in which you get into to gain people's trust is by sending them the vast majority of, I would call it, benign political information. And what I mean by that is, like, when's the vote? Who's the contact who's your contact info for your representatives? When's the next county commission meeting? When's the next city council meeting? When does the state legislature meet? Clinical analysis of legislation, just kind of like stuff that they're doing, but not giving your opinion, just letting them know what's going on. Then you mix in policy stuff from Reason, from the Cato Institute, from good, solid think tank organizations. What you cannot do is put in conspiracy theory bullshit. You have to put in good, solid information from good, reliable sources in order for you to be able to earn the trust of these people.
You just told libertarians not to do conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be hard. It's hard. I know. Look, I know it's hard. I know it's not easy to do. But, look, Cato, Reason, I'm trying to think of the other ones. I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head. But there's a bunch of organizations out there that put good policy information out on various bills in order to prove the libertarian case for many of the answers here. But what you need to do in your own precinct, because there's a couple, what does success look like? So what success will look like is either 20% registered libertarians. Either 20% registered libertarians, or, and this is another one, or at least half of the people getting your monthly email newsletter. So again, you just do it, and it's a simple one. Again, it's template, man. Most of the stuff's always going to be the same. Yeah. You're going to find a couple articles out there that you put in there.
That should be an attainable goal.
Well, and the other thing is that you want to do not monthly meetings per se, but you want to do issue-based meetings. But what you want to do is, to begin with, is explain the current process and then explain what the libertarian solution would look like. So let me give you the immigration one, because actually the first one that I want to do is going to be immigration. Because I think that's the biggest, other than national defense or foreign policy, that's the biggest hurdle that libertarians have. Again, it's one of the, and again, I know we talked a little bit about this, but that's one of the reasons the Mises guys didn't like the current leadership of the LP was because of the immigration stance, at least in my opinion. But I think that immigration is the biggest one because I think people do not understand what the advantage of the libertarian position is on immigration. And I do think that the libertarian position now is largely a open, free-flowing border is what we have to have. And so what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is explain the current process. Because if anybody understands the current process to get to this country, you're going to understand why it needs to change.
Yeah, no, the way you have to do it now is so inane, and you go through so many redundancies in order to try to become a citizen of the United States that it makes no sense, and so many people will back out before the 14 years or whatever it is that you have to be in this process.
Yeah. Everything in immigration right now is incentivized to come here illegally. Yes, everything is incentivized for this. Everything. None of it is incentivized to come here legally because it's so onerous. Now, let's just say for the sake of argument that you're a racist and that you don't like people coming into this country because of racism, let's just say. You don't like those brown people coming over from the border and stuff like that. Yeah, they took our jobs. First off, most people that are here illegally overstayed a visa. They came over on a plane, they came over somewhere else, and a lot of them are white. The guy that hammered Pelosi's husband's head, white, Canadian, here illegally.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So, in that aspect, if you open up immigration, you're going to get just as many white people into this country as you are going to get Mexicans or Guatemalans or Hondurans or Chinese, or you name the country, you're going to get people to come over here, and it's still going to be the melting pot.
And a fun fact that you can go with, obviously they were always talking about the border crisis down at the southern border. Usually, whenever there is some sort of strife going on in the world, let's say, I don't know, Ukraine. We'll just toss that one out because, it's easy. More people come here from those areas during those things than come here from the southern border.
Yeah. I mean, I've continued to look at the libertarian argument for immigration, and I keep getting back to there's so many reasons why bringing more people into the country is ultimately going to be a good thing. It's not a bad thing to bring more people in the country. It's a good thing. Again, now there's some truths that you have to make sure that you acknowledge during this. One of them is, overall, if you look at time span of countries, that the more successful a country is, the less kids that those people have. And that whatever the group coming in, because, look, we've had the Italians come over to this country at a certain point in mass. We've had the Irish come over to this country at a certain point in mass. We've had the Germans come over to this country at a certain point in mass. The Mexicans, the Guatemalans, the Colombians are no different in that aspect. They are going to have a lot of kids initially. And it goes along with language. So the first grouping that comes in, they have a lot of kids. They don't really speak their language very well. Their kids have less kids, kind of speaks both languages. Their kids have a lot less kids and can't speak any of the fucking language that they came over here with. So the melting pot worked. It takes a couple generations, but it works. The melting pot in and of itself works. The other thing is this: demographics change. White people ain't having as many fucking kids. Now, you could say there's a reason or a rationale for it. I don't really know. I'm not getting into that argument other than to say the reality is you're not having as many people. And when you put something in place like the Ponzi scheme that's known as Social Security in place, you better have the people coming in order to keep that thing going. Now, I'm against Social Security. I'm against it. I'm not in favor of it. But at the same time, you better bring more people into the country in order to make sure that you can cover the people you got now, or you're going to see tons of death and destruction against the elderly, the most vulnerable people that we have in this country. And you think you're not going to get a totalitarian state because of that? I got news for you. You're going to get that. Not to mention, how many people have you gone around, how many businesses do you go around and see that need workers? So, look, if you want to make the process to be a citizen where you can vote hard and you want a quota that number, Again, I'll compromise there. Okay, we can do that. But when it comes to just coming into the country, the migration itself is that you need to make that process as open and as transparent and as easy as possible in order to solve the other problems. Look, let's say you think China's the biggest threat we have, right? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, China's the biggest threat. Do you want to know one of the reasons that China's such a big threat? Is because they have so many fucking people. So why are we stopping people from coming into this country? Because we can support. Look, it's not even like the welfare state is supporting them so much, other than the hospitals and public education. Those are the two areas. So if you're going to have government involved in those two areas, then unfortunately, everybody that comes in gets to use them. Don't really agree with it. But if you want to acclimatize these people to America, having their kids go to public school, probably not the worst thing in the world to do. Even though, I again, not supportive of those things. But if you're going to have that going on, then go ahead and do it. You know, I mean, but that's almost all irrelevant to the fact that the bottom line is this, is that everybody can fight over the party if they want to. You can have the Mises Caucus guys, the pro guys against the anti guys, against every other caucus that's out there. You can have all that shit if you want to. If you're not going to support, endorse, and activate people within their own individual precincts to increase the number of registered libertarians, then everybody's just jerking off.
And before anybody is sitting there, in the comments, it doesn't appear this way, but before anybody sits there and says, oh, Alex just hates Mises Caucus, he's just one of the people who hates Mises Caucus, I can attest to this. 100% happened. At the Florida convention in Lakeland, Alex showed up to that Florida convention where Mises ran the table and got top to bottom straight Mises people. And he said, I have a lot of faith that they're going to do great. I think they're going to do great. Everybody seemed to really coalesce behind them, and they seemed to just be able to, there was no bickering, there was no fighting. It just, people got past, everybody went through, and I think they're going to do a lot of great things. He went into it completely open-minded on what Mises could do.
Yep.
100%. I can attest to this. He said it on an episode of Alex and Adrian, Unattended Baggage. You'd have to go and find it because I don't know which one it was. But he 100% said it. I heard it, and I saw him at that convention where he said it to me. So I know that he did. The reason he is upset now is because he has been a liberty activist, liberty operative.
I'm an operative now. I'm a political operative. I'm not running for office again. I have ruined that to do.
Yes. But he ran against Marco Rubio and Charlie Crist in 2010. Mm-hmm. And he has been with the Libertarian Party since 2009, I believe.
Yeah, 2009. Other than my little bit of time in the GOP running the RLC.
Right. So he is coming at this as, look, he has been part of the Libertarian Party. He has seen it grow. He has been one of the most successful people in getting it to grow here in Florida. Mm-hmm. He was on the campaign that got the most votes in Florida, 250,000. I almost said million. Mm-hmm. If you got 250 million, that would be voter fraud.
Yeah, it would be. That would be total voter fraud.
So he's not like, oh, I hate Mises. No, he went into it with an open mind and he was ready. He's just expressing grievances and how he's seeing it being run now. This can all change. This can 100% all change, or more people can just leave the party. More people will come in, more people will leave, but nobody will continue to trust the people being put up by the party if they're going to drop out and endorse the Republican or the Democrat. But, you know.
Either way.
One of the things that Spike is doing is You Are the Power. We all know this. He talks about it on here often. And one of the things he is doing is trying to bolster libertarian candidates who won't do things like that. And I respect that. What Alex is doing with the Neighborhood Project couples quite nicely with You Are the Power, because he will be able to go around, get people to sign up and register as libertarian, and they can then meet the candidates that You Are the Power is supporting. I don't know if this is something that's actually going to happen, but it's something I came up with right now. But it could couple really nicely with it. And these would be two organizations that would be working together to build the Libertarian Party and push liberty on the people locally. Because I've said it 1,000 times on this show, and I will continue to say it. We're not going to win the presidency. Libertarians aren't going to win the presidency. They're not going to win Senate. They're not going to win House for a very long time until you are winning locally and proving that it works locally. And you're not going to get that to happen until you get people to register, because he is 100% right. People see an R, people see a D, people see an L. They're going to vote for that if that's what they have on their voter card.
He's not wrong. Look, here's the thing.
Real quick, somebody asked where they can get the book.
Okay, so I just sent you the link.
Okay.
I texted. Hold on. I texted you the link. However, would there be a better way for me to send it to you?
No, that's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I texted you the link. It's an ebook available right now. It actually has what do you call it? Like sheets and things like that go along with it. There's like some sheets in there that you can do, but there's the link to it right there. So if you want to read the book, I mean, it's a very all right. So I've always said this, like, I really truly believe that what I bring to the party most of the time is broccoli. Like, it's good for you. You should eat it, but it's boring as fuck. Like, it's just boring. Like, I may have a fun personality and all that other kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, what I bring to you is boring. And, like, everybody wants to be a cowboy till it comes time to do cowboy shit. And so, like, this right here is, like, the cowboy shit that needs to be done that nobody wants to do because it's too hard.
Right,
like,
that's the feeding and the watering of the horses.
Look, is Dave Smith going to go there and tell you to fucking make sure you walk your precinct? No, he's going to go, that shit's fucking below me. I don't give a fuck about that shit, right? Like, he's going to tell you that. You know why? Because politically, I can't use that word, so politically, not bright. In that aspect. Again, you got to grow. You have to grow the party. You have to grow it. And then the thing is this, when you grow it, the people will come from that.
Politically Fetterman.
Police politically. You're going to get banned off of YouTube for saying politically. If you use that as a verb, there's no way they're going to let you get away with that one, by the way. Like, that might get you kicked off if you're going to use that. I've seen how they treated that freaking guy. Like, how do you elect that dude, by the way? How bad is Oz when Fetterman, who couldn't talk, like literally couldn't fucking talk, wins? Like, he won the race, man. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that was, oh God. And somebody posted he looks like Groot. And I was like, Groot.
He does look like Groot, doesn't he, though? He's a big dude. I still wouldn't fight him.
No.
Even where he's at right now, I wouldn't fight that guy.
That dude chased a black man out of his neighborhood with a shotgun.
Because he's racist.
Because he's racist. He's racist. He is a racist Democrat. But yeah, he 100% did that. And people were like, nope, got to vote for him because he's better than Oz. Because Oz doesn't live in Pennsylvania, I guess. I honestly don't know why people did that. I don't know why people did that.
I think here's the thing. I think we're at a time frame politically to which it's never voting for someone. It's always voting against somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, it's always that. It's never, I like that guy. Like, I hearken back to the days when we were like working on like Ron Paul's campaign or Gary Johnson's campaign, where you had somebody that you really liked. Gary Johnson's first campaign, by the way. Somebody that you really liked, that you really wanted to help out and support. How many people that got involved in Ron Paul's campaign in 2012 or in 2008 and 2012? Like, it was such an amazing time. There's so many of those people that are Trump people now that I never could figure out why they are, by the way. Like,
according to the comments, Trump did announce that he is running for president.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Hooray! Oh my God, it's amazing.
And honestly, I can't be more excited because it's been a while since I've been able to do the Trump impression on a regular basis, and I do it so well. So I'm so excited that I get to bring that back to this show.
Can we get a little taste right now?
Man, if I'd seen the speech, yeah, I can.
Oh, because you don't know what he said.
I don't know what he said.
I mean, hold on. Let me see. The word "huge" was in there.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, it wasn't
amazing.
Huge.
Make America Great Again was definitely part of it.
Yeah.
He probably said "de sanctimonious." Maybe he didn't say that. But we'll have to watch it later on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it later. But yeah, you know, Biden came in. He had everything handed to him on a silver platter, and he just dropped the platter because, you know, he's a clumsy guy. We all know this. He's a clumsy guy. He can't even walk up a set of stairs without. He's just a clumsy guy, and he had an economy that was ready to come booming back. And what do we have now? 7-8% inflation year over year. He's just messing everything up. He's just terrible. And he made many huge mistakes. A lot of people are saying that, not just me, lots of people. And the GOP, the leadership, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, they really fumbled the ball on this one. That's a sports term for anybody who doesn't know. Sports term. It means when you drop an easily held ball. And you're going to need somebody in leadership in the Republican Party, and that is why I am going to be running for the President of the United States to make America great again in 2024. And forget about the governor here. He's going to stay governor. He's not going to run. DeSanctimonious will become DeSantis again. He's not going to run. The media myth about us hating each other is just not true. That's not a thing. We're friends. I helped him get elected. He beat Adam Putnam because of me. It went something like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
I like it. I like it. I like where you're going with it.
Yeah.
I like how you're working it. Jesus Christ, that was funny though. Oh my God, that was too much
all
fun.
Off the top of the head, man. I usually have to write those things down.
You did good. You did good. I give you a lot of credit.
In January, you're going to be starting the neighborhood project.
Yes, and I'm going to videotape it and kind of give step by step on it. That way, at least people can see it. I still have to go get the list of registered voters in my precinct because I don't have that yet. So I still got some stuff I got to do. I will say that I'm still trying to decide two things. One, I am going to go check lpf.org's website to see if they still have like a literature. If they still have literature, I might use their literature, but I also might just create my own and just start a pack and then just sell the stuff through the pack because like you still need some stuff, but I haven't figured out exactly how I want to work some of these things. So there's still some kinks in there, but I know the order though. The order is going to be libertarians first, which won't take but a day. And then it's going to be everybody else other than Democrats and Republicans, and then Democrats, and then Republicans. I'm going to leave Republicans for last. The reason why, and I want to pass this along to people, is that whatever party is the majority party is the last one that you should do. You shouldn't do them first. You should do them last.
Yes.
And the reason why is because they're going to be the least willing to switch. That go to libertarians first because that's the party you're doing it for. MPAs because they're not in a party right now, so invite them over. And I'm literally going to do. Here's the thing: instead of a brochure, I'm actually going to give people invitations, like a
RSVP kind.
Yeah, like an RSVP thing.
I like it.
Like I'm going to literally give them an invitation to join the Libertarian Party because I think that it's I'm inviting you. You know, I'm inviting you to join, and here's why. And I'm actually going to be really transparent with people as to why. Like, the thing about it is, and again, this will only... You have to develop the message that's going to work best for you as a person. So for me, the best one's going to be is to explain what I'm doing. And to say, look, I am going around and inviting everyone in here to join the party. There's this many people in the precinct. There's this many people that I would need in order to get 20%. My goal is to get the 20% to proof concept, join the party, and help me change the world, basically. Something along those lines.
I like it.
And then going from there, just inviting them in. And then, again, holding classes. One of the things that you hear a lot of times, I think it was I think it was Adams or something quote, of like, the only thing that can save a republic is a well-informed public. Yeah. A republic is a well-informed public. Well, we don't have that right now. And the Democrats and Republicans use that to their advantage in a serious way. So if you can just do things to educate people on the process, again, take ideology out of it. Take all the ideology out of it. Just explain how fucked up shit is right now and how it actually works. And then come up with a solution to that. I got to tell you, I think again, I'll tell you how this all started, by the way, how this book actually came about. I was working or helping out a candidate that was running for school board, Don Stevenson, in Pasco County. I was out front holding a yard sign for the candidate in front of a polling place. I can't tell you how many people came up to me and was like, hey man, who else should I vote for in this one? And would basically show me their sample ballot and be like, who should I vote in this one? Who should I vote for in this one? Who should I vote for in this one? They viewed me as an authority figure on this.
Just because you were holding a yard sign.
For no other reason. For no other reason. I'm literally a dude standing out there holding it. Look, I could be, again, I can't use that word, but I could be dumb as shit. You know what I mean? I could just be there dumb, like, please vote for my guy.
Could be quirky from Life Goes On.
Yeah, I could be. But you know what? Literally.
That's a reference like 8 people understood.
I love the references that very few people get, by the way. You know what? It's like a reward for being that much, you know what I'm saying? For being able to go that deep.
Yeah.
It's a reward, and I like the reward.
I have to know how to say things online that I can't say online, so...
Yes. So, just simply holding that sign gave me validity. Well, I looked at it as, well, how else could you get validity? And the other way in which you could get validity was to simply go to people and give them benign political information, and that will also increase your validity because most people are not paying attention to politics. The other thing I want to make sure that I put out there is this. I want 20% of the people in my precinct to be registered libertarians. I want 1 or 2 of them to be active in the party. So out of 1,000 people, I want 2. And 2 might be too many. I don't want them active in the party at all. You know why I don't want them active in the party at all? Because all political parties suck. And including the Libertarian Party. Going to political organizational meetings is like fucking dental work, man. I've been in them. They annoy the fuck out of me. And I even talk at some of them. And I get annoyed at myself. So like,
I used to get so annoyed at you with those things. I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
That's why I always try to keep it short and sweet, and I talk like a fucking 5th grader. Like, again, that's how Trump got elected. So I do understand that part of how Trump got elected because he talked like a 5th grader. Because I had a very, like, when I ran for office, my speech pattern was very low, and that's why I did well. You know what I mean? Adrian ended up doing a lot better, but he had much more of a professorial kind of thing. But he was a little bit like Newt Gingrich, where he'd say fucking fucked up shit just to see if he could get away with it.
Yeah, that was... He would say the most outlandish stuff. Audience would get pissed off at him, and then he'd prove why he was right, but he'd still talk to him like he was like they were 5th graders.
And they loved him, and they fucking loved him. I never figured that one out with Adrian. I mean, I love Adrian to death, but I am getting sick and tired of him fucking interrupting me all the goddamn time in the show. Like, it really is pissing me off. Like, I'm trying to make a point, and he fucking does it at the worst time. Like, I'm literally trying to make the point, and he fucking throws it off the rails. And he does it on purpose.
I will 100% be listening to your show because I listen to it on Mondays on my way into work, and then for like the first hour of work because I'm a subscriber, so I get bonus episodes. Yeah. So I'll be listening on my way in, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh, Alex is making a good point. And like, I'm so bored, and like all of our audience is bored. I'm like, fuck you, Adrian. I'm not bored.
Yes. It's again, look, I understand why he feels this way. I'm not saying that I don't understand why he feels this way, but I do disagree. And again, I got to give it one more shot. I got to try this at the precinct level. And in all honesty, I will say that the Mises guys actually were I was thinking about doing it, and then these guys actually were the impetus for it, because in some ways, I'm pissed off. Like, I'm kind of mad that they still don't get it. Like, again, you're arguing over, like, you're still arguing over something that is worthless right now. And the reason it's worthless right now is because nobody actually wants to do, again, the cowboy shit needed in order to actually grow it. And you know what? The only way that's going to happen, though, is not going to be through any of the... Like, there's... Again, don't get me wrong. The Libertarian Party of Florida, I'm not their favorite motherfucker either on the EC. I'm going to tell you right now I'm not. And I'm definitely not going to be their favorite motherfucker on the EC after they see this fucking episode. You know? That's definitely not going to be a thing that's going to happen. And you know what? Here's the thing. I don't care. I give no fucks anymore about all this stuff. And the reason that I don't care is because in the grander scheme of things, I have more influence than you do. And that sounds arrogant, and it is. It's not unarrogant. But if I go up to Tallahassee, those people know who I am. They don't know who you are. And that's the thing you got to understand. Like, I messaged people after the election. I actually messaged 2 people. One person I said, which was Blaze. The second person I'm not going to mention because there's a bigger fear I have when it comes to the next governor of Florida, that I want to make sure that at least there's somebody that I like that's going to be running for governor of Florida that has a chance of winning. And so I messaged that person, be like, please run. Please run. I will help you if you do. And again, I'm not the other thing I'm going to say is this. A lot of times people do what I'm doing right now in order to run down the road for a spot on either the EC of Florida or on the EC of National. Uncategorically, right now, no matter what, not a thing that's going to happen. Not a thing at all that's going to happen. I will tell you, though, as a fucking capitalist, once I am able to prove fucking concept on this, I will take money to go around the country and show you other motherfuckers how to do it. But I'm not going to do it. I'm taking no position. I don't want a position. The only thing I have right now is I chair legislative here in Florida, which, again, I'm fine with doing that only because, like, you know how to I know how to do that stuff, so I can put it together in a good way. And again, I do a lot of that stuff with just what I do is I show the piece of the platform that goes along with the bill and whether we support it or oppose it. It's actually pretty simple if you base it off of the platform. Yeah. You know, it's when everybody wants to get fucking cute with things and like, oh, we're going to be a political player. Oh, Blake Masters gave me his fucking cell phone number. Let's make sure we fucking drop out and endorse his dumb ass. You know, like, you know, when they did that, man, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Part of me was mad. Part of me was, I laid into Dave Smith and then I just blocked him on fucking Twitter and everything else because I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even want to talk to you, man. You know what it is? I don't want to waste any more of my time dealing with you because you know what? You've already proven, one, you have no fucking idea what you're doing. You know, two, you're a celebrity guy, which is cool. You can be a celebritarian if you want to be. I hate celebritarians. I am anti-fucking celebritarian. Just know it. I hate them. Look, I do shit that fucks my own fucking show up. We don't promote it well. Matt does a far better job of promoting his show than I ever do of promoting my fucking show. As a matter of fact, when we get a chance and we're probably getting successful, we'll do things to fuck up our own shit. We just do it. I don't know why. Me and Adrian are the same way in that aspect. We will do the show, and if fucking 10 people are listening, then fucking so be it. I think we do it more for our own personal, what do they call that? I don't know.
Gratification.
Little of it's gratification, but some of it's actually like to get things out, like to...
Oh, yeah, like your therapy session.
Yeah, it's a therapy session.
No, like, so that's why I do this show, is it becomes like my therapy session. Mm-hmm. And the week of my wedding, I called Spike and I was like, hey, we have to do a show Tuesday. And he's like, man, I'm really busy. I was like, no, we have to do a show Tuesday. I'm under so much stress from like the wedding and everything going on. I need to do a show. Anyway, okay. I was like, thank you. You don't have to read the notes. You never do. So just show up and I'll do it and you just pitch in.
Yeah. Well, I like your notes on your side that you do, by the way. That's a good time. I like that. I mean, you have to do this part here, though, so I think that makes it a little bit more difficult to see the show notes.
So normally when I do it, it's set up a little bit differently than this. It's set up, I usually have some like off to the sides and things like that, or this isn't as big. But I made it bigger so you'd be able to see things better. Oh,
thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. All right, so do you want to go through some of the questions that people had?
Yeah, sure. We can
do you want to do that? I mean, because I didn't want to be rude, because I saw people like commenting all the time, which, I mean, that never happens because I don't do it live.
Yeah, you don't do a live show.
Hold on. Go back up. So you had the Matt. Would you consider interviewing local candidates that are running for elections in 2023? I know 3 in Duval would jump at the idea. I mean, you should.
I should. I should. I don't know. So that was something that the Writer's Block was doing. I never wanted Muddy Waters Media or Muddy Waters of Freedom to do that. I wanted that Muddy Waters of Freedom just to do content. And since the Writer's Block is on hiatus right now while I'm trying to figure out what to do about this show, that might be something that I will do in the future. But I have to make sure that Muddy Waters of Freedom is squared off first and figure out the best way that we are going to go forward with this now that Spike is not going to be on it as much. Okay. So I'm working on figuring that out, and once I do, we can revisit the Writer's Block.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my answer on that one.
Who the fuck let Alex off of his chain? Many people, and you should blame all of them for it.
Blame all of them. That was from Kenny Johnson. Democrats beat the Libertarians to crypto money laundering.
Yeah, because we're not good at it.
No,
we're not good at money laundering.
We aren't.
Obviously,
yeah. The Democrats are much better at it. They just used Ukraine for many years.
Sarwak wouldn't tolerate such incompetence. Well, I would be. You know what? I think he might be surprised. He might.
He definitely would. He would tolerate it because he was the one being that incompetent. I'm so confused about the array. Alex doesn't like to sit back. I don't know. I tried to make it where you'd see us both.
Oh, should I? Is that what it is right there?
Yeah.
You know why, dude? Because on my show, I have to be like so up on the mic that it's so weird to do it. All right, I'll sit back though. Sorry, guys. I mean, it's the end of it's near the end of the show.
Right.
But fucking A.
Do you think the relentless infighting had any effect on how things went this time in the Libertarian Party or in the Republican Party? Because that's different. I think you're asking about the Libertarian Party. No, I don't.
No, people would have to know it.
Yes, I don't. I did not know.
Your average voter has no fucking clue.
Right. I didn't know if somebody was running in my district.
Yeah.
I didn't seek it out because I wanted to see if anybody would tell me. And nobody did. So, and no, nobody was. Dennis Missigoy was the only one that I heard from about his candidacy.
Yes. I like Dennis. I actually was going to go see him one night. He was at YL in Tampa, but I ended up not being able to do it that night. I was going to take off work and, just go and do that, but I didn't. I made sure I took off work tonight to do this one, though.
Yeah, and I appreciate it.
Oh, no, I had fun.
Polk County was red as always. Shocking, right? No, you have Grady Judd. Nothing about that is shocking.
God, yeah, I don't like Grady Judd. I still don't like him.
I don't like him either. He is worse than Bob Gutierrez or Gual.
Oh yeah.
But he's funnier. I'll give him funnier.
He is definitely funnier though.
No, he is definitely funnier. The hanging chads. Yeah, we didn't talk about the hanging chads because Supreme Court got involved. But yes, 2000, you had the hanging chads down here in Florida. And then the Supreme Court got involved. Al Gore wanted only certain counties, and George Bush was like, well, let's recount the whole state. And then the Supreme Court said, look, no, this is over. This is stupid. And that's why they said this George Bush was selected, not elected. But
I got a guy I know, and I'm not going to give his name on the air, but I got a guy I know that worked down for the Republican Party in down in that area during 2000, and from what he says, they totally fucking cheated. Like, Gore actually won that election. Like,
really?
They fucking cheated, and they did not. Like, there's no way Bush won that election. Like, they fucking cheated. I'm not gonna tell who that is, but I am gonna say I do know somebody where I've talked to them, and they've unsolicited. They told me this.
Ranked choice voting is interesting. Thoughts on ranked choice voting and the fact it's illegal in Florida? I don't think it should be illegal in Florida. It's interesting seeing how Alaska is doing it. Has been really interesting to see how that's been coming along, because right now you have two Republicans at the head of the Senate race. You have two Republicans that have the most combined total of votes, even though a Democrat has the most votes. And then they're going to go through the ranked choice to figure out if somebody is who is going to win that election. That's in the House. I apologize. That's in the House where the Democrats ahead, because in the Senate you have Murkowski and the woman with the Star Wars name that I can't think of, who are battling it out for the Senate, and they're going to go ranked choice on that because the Democrat in the Senate got 9.3% or something disgusting.
As far as ranked choice voting goes, look, I am upset that it's illegal here in Florida.
Yes.
And as a concept, I do think that ranked choice voting does have value. With that being said, it ain't the end all, and it doesn't take away from anything I've said earlier in this conversation. As a matter of fact, I think that if you focus way more of your time thinking that the solution is ranked choice voting, then you're ignoring the actual problem that we're running into. And that is the number of registered libertarians that you have.
Right. Matt is a very handsome man. That is true.
It is true.
That is true.
A very handsome man. That's why he has such a very attractive and very good wife. She's a beautiful human being.
She's a beautiful human being, inside and out, the light of my life.
Cohen Sharp. You see, you don't read the ones that are just like comments, though. Like the comment stuff could be funny too, though.
Yeah, Cohen Sharp 2024. Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot recently. I don't know.
Who would you like to see? Let me ask you a question, Matt. Who would you like to see run as a libertarian in 24?
Well, I don't want anybody to run for any party. So nobody.
If you did want somebody to run.
If I did want somebody to run, oh God, that's tough. I know who I'm supposed to say, but I won't say that because that would just hurt the show more. Then selfishly, I'm like, no, he won't win, so I don't care.
You talking about Vermin Supreme?
No, Spike.
Oh, Spike.
They'll just end up hurting the show if he runs for president, and no. But no, in all honesty, Spike would be out of everybody I've seen, Spike would be the best candidate to run for president. I don't know if he's going to.
You think he'd be better than Amash then?
I think yes, because I think that I like Amash. I've always liked Amash. I like how he stood up to the Republicans, and when you piss off Karl Rove enough to say that you're the most dangerous person in the House when you're...
Yeah, that does kind of make you feel good.
Yeah, that's pretty golden. But I like Amash a lot. I don't think that he would be able to. I honestly don't think he'd be able to take Spike in a debate. I think Spike would.
You think Spike would beat Amash in a debate, huh?
I do.
Okay. I mean, look, Spike's awesome in a debate, by the way. Look, I like Spike. I don't want to.
And I've met Justin. He's a great guy. Super nice dude. He came up, introduced himself to me, and knew who I was, which endeared me to him immediately.
Oh yeah, no, I suffer from that same affliction that you do.
So, but I like Justin. If Justin runs, I would support him. They're really, it's not who I want to see in there. If Jo Jorgensen is running as president in 2024 and the Libertarians select her, I will actively work against her.
She was a horrible candidate.
Yes.
She ran a horrible campaign. She was not a good purveyor of the message.
No.
She had horrible organization. I think the one thing that pisses me off more than anything else about these guys running for president is that they don't know what they're doing when they get the job. Like, let me go to Gary's 2016 run as an example of this. Like, the LP was behind in the mailings. I caught them up, but the Johnson campaign was way behind on the mailings, and they never caught up. It was horrible how badly that they ran their logistics. Not only that, but the people that were in charge actively were switching out state chairs and doing all kinds of stuff that was like their structure for their campaign. The reason that they won that was because they were supposed to be the adults in the room, and then they get elected and they act like a bunch of, hold on, what was the name you used there before?
Fettermans.
Yeah, they were a bunch of Fettermans. They acted like a bunch of damn Fettermans in the 2016 campaign. Like, it was really, it was pathetic. It so pissed me off. Like, it was like, and you know, and here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. Look, I did not endear myself to them, even though at the end I endorsed them, and I was still pretty active in the LP at that time. But the campaign manager that was in charge of Gary's campaign hated my guts. He despised me, and so they weren't going to let me get anywhere near that fucking campaign. I reached out for Jorgensen's campaign. I reached out to the
Joe.
I reached out to. I'm not gonna throw this guy under the bus because I actually like the guy, but I reached out to him, and they didn't want anything to do with me.
I saw him last week. He's a great guy.
I like him. I like him a lot. But they didn't want that campaign. Wanted nothing to do with me. And you know what? I don't know why that is. Because, like, again, if you are going into the state of Florida, where you have a person that was responsible for 250,000 votes for a registered libertarian, I would think you might want to get a little bit of that guy on your side. Just me. But I would think you'd want to do that, especially the only one that's left. Because you can't get Wiley. He's a fucking anarchist. You can't get Danielle. She doesn't want nothing to do with it.
He wants nothing to do with politics.
Oh, yeah, nothing. He hates it. He actively fucking gets mad at me when I talk about it on the show.
Unless it's a park.
Yes, unless it's a park. He does like parks, surprisingly enough. But, again, look, you can either listen to the guy that's shown you success, or you can continue to go down, you know, the roads of people that are awesome because they get on Rogan's show. Like, you know.
Wow, that is a deep cut scientific libertarian. Obviously, Matt wants Mark Whitney.
Who the fuck's Mark Whitney?
So Mark Whitney ran for president in 2020 for the Libertarians. And when he first came on, he was funny and he had some decent ideas. And he's got this whole one-man show stand-up bit that's not bad. I watched it. And I was kind of on the Whitney train for a small period of time. And then a switch flipped in his brain, and he started going after Jacob Hornberger so hard and embarrassing himself across the entire campaign.
No,
and he kept calling him Jacob. I think it was Jacob Shipburger.
So it wasn't like he was fucking up the name; he was literally coming up with a new name.
Yeah, he just wanted to say that he was shitty, and he was just doing this constantly. And he became so focused on Jacob Hornberger that instead of spreading a message, he was just attacking Hornberger. And Hornberger did the exact same thing to Justin Amash. And Hornberger was getting his message out, and he actually had a pretty decent chance. Good thing he didn't. God, he screwed up recently. But he had a good chance of getting the Libertarian nomination. But then Justin Amash was thinking about coming in, and he just started Hornberger laser focused in on Amash, like Whitney did on him. Mother Jacober, that was it. Mother Jacober. He was, instead of calling him a motherfucker, he called him Mother Jacober.
Cleaner version.
Right. So so then Hornberger did the exact same thing to Amash, and it destroyed Hornberger, and that's how he ended up with Jorgensen. Yep.
Hornberger was interesting in the beginning, and then became boring.
Yeah.
After a while, I didn't like him. It was weird. That last election cycle for libertarian candidates was for president was weird. I mean, I did actively endorse fucking Vermin Supreme, but
yes, you did.
I stand by that one. By the way, I totally stand by that one. As a matter of fact, if you would have had Jorgensen or Vermin Supreme, I got to tell you, I think Vermin would have done a better job.
100% Vermin would have done a better job.
I liked Vermin.
Vermin would have gotten the 5%. Because
yeah,
people would have voted Vermin just to vote Vermin.
Well, the thing about it also, Vermin, is that in order to sound that crazy, you actually have to be intelligent. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but Vermin Supreme was actually really intelligent because in order to be that crazy, you got, like, in order to make the jokes that he was making, if you look at those jokes, I actually think that, what do you call it? In order to get that deep into these issues, especially like the free pony thing or the tooth decay or things like that, like
mandatory toothbrushing,
you're deep into some issues that you're making fun of. And again, he was in on the joke and that kind of thing. And I've never seen Vermin break character either. Like, I mean, I got to tell you, for a method actor, that motherfucker's good.
Yeah,
like he's real good.
I've seen him be the real him, and it's bizarre. It's so weird seeing him be the real him because he goes from, because he's always on, and then because I stayed in a house with Vermin for a week, and and so like Vermin's being Vermin, and then he's doing it all day, and then we'd get back to the house and he's still being Vermin because he's around people, and then you would see this little, it was a switch, and it would go off just for a minute, and you would see Vermin. And then, bam, come right back. But you would catch it, and you'd be like, that's the real him. Like, he's not on right now. Like, he's tired, so he's not on. He's just ready. That dude is also super jacked.
Oh, you mean like in shape-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super jacked.
Well, because he's like a vegan, and
yeah,
like he lives in the woods.
He chops all of his own wood.
Yeah, like he works.
Yeah, no, he works. But yeah, we are now over 2 hours.
Are we really?
Yeah, we are.
All right, hold on. Was there any more here? I think Dave Smith shot himself in the foot when he suggested that. Well, that's exactly what we were talking about. You're totally right. Yep. Again, he's made himself impossible to nominate for president now because of that. Yep. And if that's the way he believes, then he shouldn't be a part of the. Here's the thing: the Mises Caucus should come out and condone what he or not support what he did. Unfortunately, I haven't seen shit from him. Mm-hmm. You know, I gave them an opportunity to come out correct on this one. They haven't done it, so you lost me. And again, I was a fan, and you lost me. You got a lot of work to do. You know what? I heard this somewhere. It takes I think it was a song lyric. It takes twice as long to build bridges that you've already burnt, and you guys got twice the work to do in order to get me back. You got to prove to me that you're serious and that you actually understand what the fiduciary responsibility of a caucus within a partisan organization is. And I don't think you do. You think you're smarter than everybody else. In all reality, it's that hubris that makes you look dumb as shit. Just saying. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
I'm glad I named this episode Alex Unchained.
When I saw you name it that way, I'm like, fuck, I gotta bring it. I gotta come correct. So it was better to be back here than it was to be up there. I felt weird. You're right. Yeah. This is much better.
Yeah, people can see you.
Yeah, like this way. Hold on. Alex doing his show.
Yeah.
Alex doing Muddy Waters.
Yeah.
Alex doing his show. Alex doing Muddy Waters. There's not a better example of how much we fuck up our own show than that right there.
Right. So the Neighborhood Project is going to be launching in January. You can tune in to Alex and Adrian's Unattended Baggage every Saturday. You have new episodes?
Yeah, every Saturday. We put it out. We don't do it live. We record it. First hour is always an hour. We always try to get right to that hour. Second one is a little bit longer.
It's literally right to that hour every time because Adrian will cut the feed at 1 hour.
That motherfucker will cut off. Even when I want to try to make another point, fuck no.
Nope. He's like, nope, you're out of time.
Asshole.
Save
Fucking
it
asshole.
for the subscribers.
I love that guy. It's lucky I love him when I kill him.
So tune into that. Check out his show. Tune in next week for a brand new episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom, where maybe somebody, I don't know if somebody else is going to be. I don't know if Spike's going to be here. I don't know if nobody's going to be here. But there will be a new episode next week of the Muddy Waters of Freedom. Next Tuesday, 8 o'clock, right here. That's weird. I don't know how to do the call out sign off because it's always been a 2-person thing. But remember, I don't even remember what Spike's line is. Okay, got it. Now I remember.
Live, laugh, love.
And remember,
You're the power. You're the power.
It's definitely not his line.
That's his whole organization. How is he not doing that at the end?
Because I told him he can't. Because you are the power doesn't pay me.
That's right. That's a good point, by the way. Mudwater.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
And now, Matt Wright and Spike Cohen.